their hands overlapped on my arms, their eyes fixed on me as if I had been theirs all along. I told myself I'd just come for dinner. But I already knew that wasn't true. Before I tell you how it all began, take a second to like this video and hit subscribe. It's quick, it's free, and it means you won't miss the next story. I never thought much about the couple next door. They were younger, playful, the kind who left their windows open late with music spilling into the night. I used to hear their laughter drifting across the yard while I sat alone in my quiet kitchen, pretending it didn't make me ache. So when they invited me to dinner again, I almost said no out of habit. But something inside me, call it curiosity or maybe loneliness, made me accept this time. I told myself it was just a meal, nothing more. Their door opened warmth I hadn't felt in years. The smell of garlic and herbs wrapped around me. Music hummed softly in the background, and the two of them stood there grinning like I was the most important guest they'd ever had. I smiled back, but inside I was nervous. I hadn't been in someone else's home for dinner since my husband passed. The table was set beautifully, candles flickering low, glasses catching the light. They poured wine for themselves, but made a show of filling my glass with sparkling water, joking that someone had to stay responsible. I laughed, maybe too quickly, because my hands were already restless in my lap. We ate, we talked, and I couldn't help noticing how they looked at each other and at me. The wife leaned across the table to pass me the bread, her fingers brushing mine longer than needed. I felt the spark of it, even if I pretended not to. Her husband's eyes lingered on me when he asked questions about my life, his voice steady, patient, like he was waiting for me to give away more than I meant to. I tried to keep my focus on the food, but my cheeks burned every time their attention circled back to me. I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to being seen. By the time dessert was served, I already knew this wasn't just dinner. When the plates were cleared, I thought the night was nearly over. I even offered to help clean up, eager to do something with my hands, but they both laughed it off. "Come sit with us instead," the wife said, touching my arm as though guiding me was the most natural thing in the world. They led me into the living room. It wasn't bright and ordinary like I expected. Only a few lamps were on. The rest of the house dimmed to shadows. Music played low from a speaker tucked away somewhere, the kind of rhythm that fills silence without breaking it. I paused, noticing the change, but before I could dwell on it, they were already settling onto the couch, leaving a space in the middle. I sat between them. Too close, I thought at first, but neither of them shifted. The wife's thigh pressed lightly against mine, her warmth seeping through the fabric of our clothes. I told myself it was just the size of the couch, but she made no move to adjust. Her husband stayed quiet on my other side, but I could feel his eyes. When I turned, he wasn't looking at the room or at her. He was looking straight at me, calm and steady, as though I was the only one worth watching. I looked away quickly, but that gaze lingered in my chest long after. Our conversation slipped into softer places I hadn't visited in years. They asked me how long I'd lived alone, whether I got lonely if I missed company. Simple words, but the way they leaned in, waiting for every answer, made me feel like my life had suddenly become the most fascinating story they'd ever heard. When I laughed at one of their playful remarks, the wife reached out and held my wrist as if to keep the moment from slipping away. Her fingers were cool at first, then warm as they tightened slightly, just enough to let me know she wasn't in a hurry to let go. I felt the heat rise to my face, but I didn't pull away. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was deliberate. A slow, heavy quiet that made me more aware of their closeness, of the way her leg brushed against mine with each small movement, of the way his breath seemed just a little louder in the stillness. I tried to tell myself I should go, that it was late, that I didn't belong here. But when I looked at the two of them, the wife leaning in with a smile that knew more than she said, the husband steady and unreadable, like a shadow wrapped in warmth, I stayed seated, and then she tilted closer, her voice dropping so low it felt like a secret meant only for me. "You don't have to go home yet." My heart stumbled. The words were gentle, but the invitation inside them was undeniable, and suddenly the night didn't feel like a simple, neighborly dinner anymore. The words hung between us. "You don't have to go home yet." I should have lobbed it off, stood up, thanked them for dinner. But I didn't. I stayed right there, caught between the two of them. My breath too shallow, my heartbeat too loud in my own ears. The wife's hand was still resting on my wrist. Slowly, she let her thumb trace across my skin, small circles that sent a shiver all the way up my arm. Her touch was careful, testing as though waiting to see if I'd pull away. I didn't. Her husband leaned closer, not enough to touch, but enough that I could feel the warmth radiating off him. The air grew thicker, the music softer, until it felt like the entire room was leaning in too, waiting. I started, my voice trailing off. I didn't even know what I was about to say. "You don't have to explain," she whispered back, her lips so near my cheek. I felt the ghost of her breath. And then, without asking again, she tilted forward and kissed me, gentle, cautious, like the opening to a secret neither of us could take back. My whole body froze, shocked by how soft, how natural it felt. When she pulled back, I caught myself leaning forward, unwilling to lose the warmth she'd left behind. I turned my head and met his eyes. He hadn't said a word, but the way he was looking at me told me he didn't need to. He reached out then, his hands settling at the small of my back, steady and grounding. My skin tingled under the weight of it. The wife kissed me again, bolder this time, and my thoughts unraveled. Her husband's hand shifted higher, holding me in place, not forcing, just making sure I stayed. The two of them moved in perfect silence as if they'd practiced this moment, as if I'd been meant to be here all along. I felt surrounded, caught between them, every nerve alive. Their closeness overlapped until I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. Part of me whispered to stop, to step back, to breathe. But the louder part, the part that had been starved for years, urged me to let it happen. And when I finally gave in, leaning toward both of them, the night stopped pretending to be anything other than what it really was. Her lips returned to mine, and this time, I didn't hesitate. I met her full and hungry, and the sound I made against Hermith betrayed me. His hands slid around my waist, firm and steady, pulling me back until my spine pressed into his chest. I gasped, caught between them, their heat swallowing me whole. She smiled into the kiss as if she'd been waiting for that sound, then deepened it, tilting my head with her fingers tangled in my hair. His grip spread wider, one hand spanning my stomach, the other already traveling down my side. Every nerve along his path lit up, and her mouth chased the trail he left uncovered. When she left my lips to taste the skin along my jaw, he pressed closer behind me, his breath falling hot across my ear. I trembled, caught in the overlap of their mouths and hands, unable to keep track of which sensation belonged to whom. She shifted, climbing into my lap, her weight pressing me back into the cushions. I caught her hips without thinking. Holding her steady, Asher mouth descended again, searching mine with more urgency. At the same moment, he leaned down over my shoulder, his chest heavy against my back, one arm braced across me so I couldn't move. Not that I wanted to. Their timing was effortless, like a dance I'd never learned, but somehow already knew. When she broke away to breathe, he claimed the space, dragging his mouth down the line of my neck. When his hands stilled, hers explored lower, fingers tracing along the hem of my blouse, slipping beneath to find bare skin. I tried to keep pace, to turn toward one, to follow the other, but every direction led me to touch. Her lips captured mine again. His hands tightened at my waist. My body arced, desperate for both at once. And they gave it, pressing harder, surrounding me, holding me in place while the couch creaked beneath us. The rhythm built slowly, crui, a tide pulling me higher. She kissed down my throat, teeth grazing lightly at the edge of my collarbone. He held me pinned, palms spread across my ribs, his other hand guiding me lower into the cushions. I twisted against them, breath coming faster, every movement answered immediately by theirs, one claiming what the other left behind. I lost track of everything but sensation, a hand in my hair, hers, a grip on my hip, his, a mouth at my neck, hers again, his arms circling tighter around my middle, lifting me up just to press him back down again. I was caught in a braid of touch, my body answering both at once, my nerves strung so high I thought I might break. She whispered my name against my skin, a soft moan that made my chest seize. He growled, something low, his lips brushing my ear, and the vibration sent another shiver rushing through me. I clutched at them both blindly, her shoulder, his forearm, fabric bunching in my fists as I gave in to the pull. The pace quickened, their mouths and hands claiming me everywhere at once. She pressed harder into me, kissing with urgency, while he drove me forward with his weight, his strength surrounding me. Every inch of me burned, every nerve screaming for more, and they answered without pause, without mercy, until I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. And then it hit. My body arched violently, my breath breaking into desperate gasps as wave after wave crashed through me. They didn't let me fall. Her lips stayed locked to mine, her hands tangled in my hair. His arms gripped tighter, anchoring me against him, holding me steady through the storm, ripping me apart. The first wave gave way to another and another. My body shook, dragged higher each time until I was clinging, sobbing breathlessly into Hermuth, while his weight pressed me down into the cushions. Every sound I made was swallowed by them, her kiss muffling my cries, his chest vibrating against my back as he growled encouragement. I couldn't even understand. I lost all sense of time. Minutes, hours, it could have been either. All I knew was heat and motion, hands and mouths and the relentless climb. I thought I had reached the peak, only for them to push me higher, still drawing more from me than I knew I had. When it finally broke, truly broke, I collapsed between them, trembling, drenched in sweat, my nails still dug into their skin. They stayed with me, breath mingling with mine, foreheads pressed against my shoulders and hair, as if sealing me into their circle. Later, barefoot, I crossed the lawn with my heels dangling from my hand. The night air stung cool against my overheated body, but I still felt them everywhere on my lips, in my hair, beneath my skin. I had gone next door for dinner. I came home carrying a secret written into every breath I took. So tell me, if you had been the one living next door that night, would you have invited me in or left me wondering? Be honest, do you wish you were there too? If you were, what would you be doing? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss the next one. Your support means more than you know.